A rockin' demo from Queen, Feelings, Feelings, next on Crown Jewels. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to PLD Project's Crown Jewels. I'm your host, PLD, and welcome to the podcast where I take you on a journey through the entire Queen catalog, song by song. We listen to every song, we listen to every version of every song that we can find, and try to determine which is the best version or crown jewel of the track. So we can slide it into our ultimate playlists. We also go a little bit above and beyond, some history, some notes, some quotes. We even try to keep track on whether this song will make my top 10 Queen or Queen related tracks of all time. We are through the News of the World album mostly now, the News of the World album proper, I should say. This week, we are doing a song which is a demo song called Feelings, Feelings. All right, Feelings, Feelings. This is going to be an interesting track. We're going to deal with a little bit of fact and then a little bit of speculation and even some, I'd say, deep dive speculation. We'll start with what we know from the track. Feelings, Feelings, Take 10 was officially released on the 2017 News of the World 40th Anniversary box set. You know, it was written by Brian May, features Freddie on lead vocals, Brian on guitar, John on bass, Roger on drums. Now, this is a demo. It is incomplete. There is no finalized version, so you got to take that into account when you listen to it. It's hard to compare this to a completed, real, finished track, as we don't have a finished version of this song. It's nice listening to demos of tracks that are finished. You get to hear the journey along the way, compare it to the finalized product. This one, we don't really have a finalized product, so you got to keep that in mind. But Take 10 is at least officially released. It's on the box set, like I said. The other two versions is where we start going into more speculation. Now, Queen fans, deep hardcore Queen fans, has known this song for quite a while. It was leaked out somewhere as a demo along the way. I had it for years, but it wasn't this take. It was Take 9. Feelings, Feelings, Take 9. Obviously, one take before the one that was officially released, which I think is actually a great thing, because you got to know that the Queen management has to know what's out there. They do their searches. They know what demos are leaked and what's not. And so they know that Feelings, Feelings, Take 9 circulated. So they could have given us just the official version of that. And then the casual fans and the semi-casual fans might not have even known the difference. They'd be like, oh, cool, a new demo or a demo of a track I haven't heard. Perfect. But at least they went above and beyond, gave them at least a separate take, which is a good thing for the hardcore fan. Now we're entering further speculation. The song Feelings, Feelings has been rumored to have been banging around since the early 70s, 1970, 1971, pre-first album, if you will. Now, there is a demo that leaked from that time frame called Feelings. It was leaked, and I had considered at one point putting it as its own separate episode in the Queen album era. However, I decided to include it here because it does sound like Feelings developed into Feelings, Feelings, much like Feel Like evolved into Under Pressure, as we'll get to when we get to the Under Pressure episode. Although Feel Like into Under Pressure is definitely a lot more easier to see. Feelings into Feelings, Feelings is definitely much harder to see. If you listen to it without knowing the names of the track, you might go, oh, that sounds somewhat reminiscent. Oh, there's some definitely riffs here and there that are kind of similar, but they're all kind of basic riffs as well. It's not like they were very intricate riffs, and there's a lot different between them. So I did struggle with the idea, but I also figured at the end of the day, this is like Feelings is a 2-minute demo. It felt easier just to kind of put it with the Feelings on its own, because songs do develop all the time. They do develop far from the original iteration. So if the track was from 1970, 1971, here it is 1977. After touring the world a bunch of times, they might have changed things up trying to get it around. We got Feelings, Feelings, Take 10. Maybe this is Feelings, Take 1. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it was Take 10 of that day. We don't know anything about necessarily what that means. However, I will put this here, and I will definitely talk about it. Now, normally on the show, if you listen for a while, I talk about things and then I play. I don't play the whole track because I don't want any, strikes or anything like that. What I usually do is I put in the show notes a Google Sheet, which has links to YouTube versions so that we can talk about it. We can pause it, the podcast when I reach that certain point, tell you to go listen to it, come back, and we have the discussion about it. Unfortunately, in this case, I only have the album version, the box set version, if you will, the officially released version on YouTube for you to listen to. Even a couple weeks ago, there was the Take Nine version was on, but that has been since taken down. So, unfortunately, you're just going to have to deal with me trying to describe it as best I can. I also look for the Feelings demo. I can't find that as well either. So, unfortunately, the gist of what we usually do can't be done. I will have you listen to the album version, and we'll just talk about everything else after that. So for right now, why don't we do that? Pause me, go down to that Google Sheet, find the YouTube link for Feelings Take 10, listen to it. We'll come back, we'll talk about it, and we'll get into the rest. And there we go. That's take 10 of Feelings. Very quick track. It's under 2 minutes. It's a fun rocker, definitely a fun rocker, somewhat reminiscent at this point of Tire Mother Down, kind of Tire Mother Down-ish in a way, as that kind of chugga riff going on to it. I love Freddie's vocals during this. It's very playful, but very raucous, very raucous. The whoop in the beginning and the slowed down bridge that comes where it speeds right back. It's not the way I do it, it's the way that I do it. It's not the way I do it, it's the way that I play. It's really up there and rocking. And the last verse, Freddie really goes up on this high tearing note before it ends with this quick kind of big riff kind of thing like that. It's definitively an incomplete song. Let's be honest. This is definitely not something they would put on the album. However, from many interviews over the years, the band would say that the way they worked is they would, put down a bunch of ideas in demo form, listen to them, and then decide which ones to further explore and further develop before they get to tracks that would be album worthy. I think at some point for this one, they got taken to like this level, probably not much more, and they decided to abandon it and move on to something else. And I understand why, because quite frankly, while it's fun, it's kind of inconsequential. It doesn't really have a great there's no like a reverse chorus kind of song thing going on. It's kind of just like almost like a little jam session to a degree. Could it have been developed? Could it have been worth it? Absolutely. But I can understand where we have it here that it just kind of ends up being this like kind of fun nonsense rock and roll number. I'm really glad we got to hear it because I love hearing even the germs of ideas. It's fun to listen to from Queen. And hearing Freddie sing anything is a treasure, is a treat. So yeah, that's what I take on take 10. Now, I'm going to pause here myself. You'll just hear a clip of take 9, and then I'll be right back. I'm going to go listen to take 9 to see how different they are and what I have to say about that. So we'll be back in a second. Okay, for take 9, I wish I had a lot to say to describe it as far as like differences because there's not a whole lot different to it. And rightfully so. It's take 9 versus take 10, which is going to really change except for minor alterations of how they play it. It's not like they change everything up. No. Very similar. Backing track is very similar. So includes a big woo in the beginning. It's an earlier Freddie vocal. I think that Freddie gets a little more confident, probably gets more confident each take. I feel like take 10 was a little bit more confident, a little bit more raucous in what it wanted to do, a little more of that high power going on. Still same vein, though. This one's still the same vein, still a fun version. Has a beginning a little bit differently. The tie countered in a little bit further, but it might just be the drum playing. In fact, they might have just cut that off for the take 10 version that went on the box set. I can always see that because it was just kind of noiseless or just kind of useless, kind of click, 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 click kind of stuff. I think Brian played a few more guitar riffs during the take 10 version. Not riffs, a few more stabs at different things, adding guitar along. Again, everybody kind of just adds things differently. But overall, it's the same track. There's no real big difference. It's just slightly different, slightly just again, you're gonna get different every time you play it. Every time you play a song, you play it a little bit differently. This is pretty easy to come up with. This is just the one. So all right. Now I'll take another brief pause. I'm gonna go listen to the Feelings demo, come back and see what I can say about that. Okay, so it's definitely an ancestor. It's definitely an ancestor. The tempo is way down from that. There's not that kind of double time speed. The riff is just slowed down a lot. The very beginning, actually, of the demo, is not anything like Feelings. It's after about 30 seconds in, it starts to hear a little bit of similarity between it. Of course, the lyrics have some similarity here and there. All in all, I would say it's, again, it's why I said it before. I can't even tell you for certain that it is. It is the same track, but it's got enough similarities to it for me that I'm going to include it in here as part of my feelings riff, and I guess we're going to have to go from there. So, yeah, that's again. Sometimes you got to make the hard decisions, folks, and that's exactly what I did there. I made the hard decision. Now I am going to stick with it. All right, now it's time to rank the track as the different versions of the track and figure out which is the crown jewel. I'm just going to go into my ultimate playlist. You look into the show notes down below. Also, you'll see links to the Spotify version, which you can all look at. I have a YouTube version as well, YouTube music as well. I try to get as close to I can. Obviously, some of the tracks we have aren't on Spotify, so I can't do that. So I'll give you the closest version I can, and if I can't put anything in the Spotify list, I'll let you know. The YouTube one, I can actually upload my own tracks, my own demos, or my own unpublished tracks on not streaming tracks to make my better playlist on YouTube Music. But that's in there as well. But let's take a look at these three tracks. Got 3, 2, 1. At number 3, as we're going to put the demo, the Feelings demo. It's definitively not even closer to finished than 9 or 10 is. As a slower version, it's not quite as fun. It's nice. It's fun. It's a good listen. I'm glad I got to listen to it. But at the end of the day, if we're looking for the best version so far, it's not that one. So it really comes down to take 9 or take 10. And it's pretty easy for me as well. I think take 10, it's just one step closer to completion. Freddie was a little bit more confident. Brian feels a little more confident. It's really, your miles may vary though. If you told me take 9 was your favorite for some reason, totally get it. But for me, take 10 has a much better completion, has a much better Freddie vocal for me. I think not much better, but a better, more confident vocal. And that's what takes it for me. So rock it on. Feelings, take 10 is the crown jewel for this week. All right, let's rate this bad boy now. We always rate things on a scale of 1 to 11 here on PLD Projects. Of course, the top 10 list that we have developed so far, well, they are all at 10.5 and higher. So you really have to be the creme de la creme. You're going to make the top 10 of the PLD list. Number 10, we got You Take My Breath Away at 10.5. 9 has Teo Toriate, Let Us Cling Together, also at 10.5. The Millionaire Waltz at 10.5. In the Lap of the Gods Revisited at 10.5. The Prophet Song, 10.5. Bohemian Rhapsody at 10.5. Now, the top 4, Perfect 11s. The March of the Black Queen from Queen 2. White Queen As It Began, also from Queen 2. It's Late from News of the World, a very recent entry. Finally, Somebody to Love, originally from The Day at the Races. That is also a perfect 11. What am I going to give Feelings, the demo? Well, not close. Not even close. It's not even close to 10.5. I'm going to give it about a 5.5. That does seem a little harsh, but at the same time, it's not a finished song. It's just not a completed song. So it's hard for me to give it anything more than a 5.5. It's a fun song, and if it was finished, it might actually be up there slightly higher. I don't think it would get to 10.5, but it's definitely a fun rock and roll number with some great vocals, like I said. So worth listening to, but a 5.5 is where it falls. All right, folks, next week will be another demo from the News of the World session. This one, Silver Salmon, which is actually another track that was around in the early 70s. But definitely the recording is from 1977, as the Queen scholars have determined. But we'll talk about that next week. Thank you for sticking it out this week. Hope you enjoyed this look into the demos of Feelings. If this is your first time here, click that like, click that subscribe. If you are on YouTube, you can go to my other YouTube page, PLD Projects, just PLD Projects. You can like and subscribe there as well. If you're on the audio feed, you're all in one place for now. I made an announcement video recently where I'm just going to be splitting up everything into its own podcast feed. So Crown Jewels will have its own feed eventually. Right now, I'm going to build up the older episodes. Once I catch up with the older episodes, all the new episodes will be on just the Crown Jewels feeds. You can look at that in the show notes as well, or in the, we can look down below for the links to all the different podcasts that are going to be broken up into. Right now, it's all still in the PLD Projects feed. You can stay there, and I will announce it when I get there, when everything moves over. I will go over show by show as I catch up. Like my review show for V, my look at the sci-fi franchise has the least amount of episodes, so that would the first one completed probably. Ground Jewels has a lot of episodes to get through, so we might be here for another month or so, or month or two, depending on how it goes. But eventually, it will be. You can go there now and subscribe to it, though. Subscribe to it now. You can listen to the old episodes again in order without having to search through the different PLD project stuff. If you only want Crown Jewels, that's where you go. All right, that will do it for this week. We will see you next week. Patreon. That's what I should plug my Patreon. Patreon.com/PLD projects. A great crew there. Austin Cadell, Brendan Buckingham, and Jeff Alterman. Couldn't do without you guys. Really help keep the lights on, so I really appreciate you guys. If you can't join Patreon, I completely understand. But just share it, like those comments. It really does help the algorithm and everything else. I'm just trying to get up there. Both my channels are over 500 subscribers. At the Crown Jewels is over 600 subscribers. We're trying to work our way towards 1,000 for each, which would be nice. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. What do you want to see? I have other Queen shows in mind when I get through the Crown Jewels, but we got a lot of tracks to go. We're still only in the 70s. We've barely even touched the solo careers. Just Roger Taylor's one single. We got a lot of stuff to get through, but we will. We definitely will. Until next time, though, keep those feelings intact. Keep yourself alive. God save the future.